This is a giant chocolate bar. And this is a giant laptop. Wouldn't you believe it that the laptop is actually bigger than the bar of chocolate? Holy shit. And that it's actually bigger than the run-of-the-mill standard laptop? Not to mention thicker than your standard run-of-the-mill laptop? This thing is a behemoth. This is a monstrosity of a laptop. It is ridiculously huge, and it is ridiculously heavy. It weighs 18 pounds, just the laptop by itself. This thing is so big, I can barely get it in frame. I have to lean back this far while sitting in a chair just to look at it. It's huge. Holy shit. This was Dell's attempt at making a ultra portable media center computer. Several years back I had purchased one of these. I purchased it for 150 bucks on Kijiji. It's a Canadian website, buy and sell website. It didn't work. It turned on, but nothing would display on the screen. Now at the time though, I didn't really know about graphics cards and how they failed and how to fix them. I just knew that it turned on and nothing worked. And there was very little detail at the time on how to fix it. These Dell laptops, when they came out, they were very expensive. The base price was $3,500. That's $3,500. For the full package, the laptop, the suitcase, everything, was about $4,670. These laptops were ridiculously overpriced, but had one major flaw, and that was the graphics card.
What you're looking at is the ATI X1800 graphics card. This is a removable graphics card that's inside the laptop. This is the most problematic piece of this machine. The black little chips that are around the GPU chip are the failure points. You also have 4 more on the back. These graphics cards are so prone to overheating that the solder behind the black IC chips develop little tiny stress cracks, and you eventually get the black screen of death. Or you'll get a screen that looks like this. Yeah. This is definitely a sign of a failing graphics card. Typically, people confuse it with failing RAM, but no, this is a graphics card problem, especially on the M2010. This is what the inside of the Dell XPS M2010 looks like. It's very nice, actually. You have big cooling fans that look like that they would get the job done, right? Wrong. The problem with this computer is it's very poorly engineered. You have these 2 hard drives on the left and the right placed directly on top of the heat sinks, which are designed to dissipate heat. Well, when you place hard drives, which also create heat themselves, when you place those over top of a heat sink, you're trapping all that heat in there, and then eventually something's going to give. And unfortunately with this, the graphics card is the first thing that goes, and then the motherboard. The BIOS on this machine is also not programmed right. Whenever the computer reaches 75 degrees or higher, the fans are supposed to kick on at full speed, but unfortunately they don't. So there's a problem with how the fan controller is set up on this computer. The only way to get them to run at full speed is if you hotwire them manually to run at full speed.
So when I bought the previous laptop, I didn't realize that it was just those little black memory chips on the video card. I thought it was the actual GPU chip itself, but no, it was just the memory ICs. So I took the card out and I threw it in the oven, baked it at 350. The house definitely smelled like solder, so I knew it was cooking. I took it out, gave it time to cool down, threw it in the laptop, nothing happened. So I thought, okay, clearly it's not a graphics card problem, so took the board out, stuck it in the oven. Yeah, I killed it. Yep, I killed a potentially salvageable laptop, and yeah. So, now, ever since then, I have been looking for another one just like it, and I kind of wish that I held on to the other one that I had, but I sold it for $100, so I actually lost $50 on that one.
So after having no luck finding one locally, I decided to do a Canada-wide search, and lo and behold, I found a complete laptop in non-working condition, not so surprising there, in Quebec. I contacted the seller, and I knew that he spoke French. He didn't speak English, and thanks to the power of using Google, he was able to translate what I said, and then he was able to type in French and then send it to me so I could translate it. And he said yes. It cost $118, shipped to my door, and this was using Purelator Express shipping, so it actually arrived the very next day. I was really, really happy. It also came with the traveling bag, which I didn't get with the previous laptop, so I scored out right there.
Okay, so this is the optional traveling case that this machine would have came in. I believe this was probably a $500 option for the laptop bag. Don't quote me on that, I really don't know. But this case, it's okay, it's nice, but I really don't like it. You have the laptop handle sticking out like this to act like a carrying handle for the bag, but it just looks really lazy. You think that they would have made the laptop bag just a little bit higher to hide that? I don't know. I think it would have been better to do that. You do have a handle in here, which is kind of hard to get at. There it is. And you have to get your hand in there just to, there we go. There, and you got a nice handle to roll the thing around with you. So now that the laptop is on the floor and has the handle up, say I was walking around the airport like a big shot, just walking around, just pulling my 35 pounds worth of shit. Then I let go of the handle. Like, say it was back like this, and I let go. Jeez. Like that. Yeah. The laptop, the way it's positioned, right at the front there, it makes it so top heavy that it takes no effort to push this bag over. There we go. So, yeah, maybe if they had put like little feet stoppers at the front here to keep it from flopping over, it would have been a better idea. But I don't know. So that's the ridiculous laptop bag. To remove your $3,000 laptop out of its expensive traveling bag, you have to undo 4 zippers. 4 zippers. And a magnetic strap that just kind of sits over top to keep things from landing in the vents. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you pull that, so it's hanging out like that. And then you pull this one, and there. And now, grab the handle, and you pull your 18-pound behemoth out of the bag. Just to give you guys an idea of how much storage is in this bag, look at all those pouches. There's a pouch in every area of this bag, plus a paper divider and another pouch on the back with dividers. And you get a nice pouch on the front too, with, of course, a divider inside. What luxury. Every Dell XPS came with a baggie of goodies. This is the accessory bag. You had your audio expansion. It's nice to have stuff hanging off a laptop. You have your component connection. An S-Video to composite extension. A Bluetooth wireless mouse, if you want to use it as a desktop. On the left side of this laptop, you have two USB ports. They're not 3.0, they're 2.0. You have your audio and microphone jacks, and you have your Bluetooth pairing button on the back. You have your power jack. You have the connection to hook up this audio expansion. Two more USBs. You have an S-Video port for this adapter, or this adapter. You have a DVI port, Ethernet and modem. On the right side of the laptop you have a PC MICA card slot, and you also have a, I think this is a smart card slot, I don't know for sure. No, this is another card reader slot. You also have a SD card slot, a firewire port, and that's the subwoofer that's on the bottom. This is what the underside of this computer looks like. That round thing right there is the speaker, which is the subwoofer, and the battery is this long brick-like thing. And this is the door where your RAM, wireless card, and CMOS battery is. And you have a foot right there to keep it from tilting. I have the other foot, it broke off during shipping, so I'm going to have to attach that. So let's open this thing up. Okay, so to open it, you have two latches on the side. You pull... Oh, that's right. I'll explain why that one doesn't work. But basically, you pull on the latch. There we go. And that's your laptop. Massive. Absolutely massive. So that's what it looks like opened up. This thing is huge. Again, it's really hard to get this in focus, but it is huge. One of the issues with this kind of laptop, with the size, is every time when you try to close the laptop, it barely latches. Sometimes it will, sometimes it won't. This time it is. It's making a fool out of me. Okay, there it goes. There. The latch system on this thing is ridiculous, and I cannot get the left side to close at all. I actually had to use Velcro to keep this side down. The reason why, not sure if you can see this, but you see how this hinge is poking up like that? and how this one is almost flush. I think this hinge somehow got bent. I don't know. But I can feel kind of like a little ridge right here. And I've tried everything to flatten this out to try to get it straight again, but yeah, it's not working. So I had to use Velcro. It's a temporary thing for now until I can get it fixed. But yeah, you can even tell. That side's up, that side's down. So these latches are magnetically controlled. So when you tilt the screen back far enough, they retract. And when you pull them down, just a little bit more, there they go. So yeah, that's what they do. Nice touch. So on the inside you have your optical drive right here. This is where you put your DVDs and stuff in. This is your power button. This is a home button. I think this is for recovery mode. I don't know. Your indicator lights. The computer has 9 speakers on it. There's 8 attached to the monitor and 1 on the bottom, which is the subwoofer. So that's pretty over the top. This is your Bluetooth rechargeable wireless keyboard. So if you want to use it like it is right now, you can. It has a keyboard, mouse pad, and has the function keys of a typical laptop. Say you wanted to remove the laptop keyboard and just, have it on your lap. You just pull it off like that. And now you have a keyboard that you can use on your lap. Now it's a desktop. And if you want to just strictly use it as a desktop with the keyboard attached, and if you don't like using the mouse pad, you have a Bluetooth mouse as well. This is the power adapter that it came with. This machine requires 150 watts to charge the keyboard, the internal battery, and to power the machine. This 100 watt power supply, which was probably made in China, yep, I was right, made in China, has a voltage changer on the back. And I had it cranked up all the way to 24 volts just to pump out as much power as possible. Yeah. This thing got so hot that it started cooking inside, and I took it apart already, but I didn't see anything obvious, but I can smell something is burning in here. So I don't feel comfortable using this power supply, so I bought a different one. I refused to pay $67 for a genuine Dell power supply. So I bought this $24 Cross 90 watt power supply, and this one is able to do the job just fine. When you run this computer, you have to have the right power supply, which would be the 150 watts power supply. If you don't, you're going to notice the computer is going to be very laggy, it's going to be very slow, and you won't be able to watch high definition videos without it constantly skipping and pausing. However though, after using this power supply, it actually worked better than the Chinese one down there. So yeah, another thing too, with the other power supply, I was not able to get the battery to charge. I didn't even know if the battery worked or not. But when I hooked this thing up, the battery light came on, but it wouldn't charge while the machine was running. I literally had to shut the computer off, and it charged overnight. So I'm happy to say that the internal battery still has life in it. I don't know how much life, but we'll find out. There we go. The one thing that sucks about this laptop. Say your CMOS battery died and you needed to get in to change the time and date and everything. What sucks about this computer is you have no use of the Bluetooth keyboard whatsoever. You cannot use it to do anything for that matter. Even though the Bluetooth light remains on at all times, you cannot use the keyboard. In order to change any settings before Windows starts up, you need to plug in a USB keyboard, and that's how you do it. Even though I was under the assumption that as soon as this keyboard was attached to that little thing there, I was under the assumption that it immediately turned into a embedded keyboard, like a laptop, like a stationary one. But no, it doesn't work that way. So yeah, that really sucks. Even when you go to install Windows, if you want to put a disk in to install Windows, you cannot use the keyboard until Windows is installed. Because once Windows is installed, you can then pair the keyboard. But even after pairing the keyboard, you still can't use it when you first start the computer up. So, yeah. Nice going, Dell. Really nice. So, this is the machine started up. The keyboard... Yep. Keyboard is working. And this is... Yep. The mouse. Click a button. Bluetooth light comes on. And there you go. Oh, I didn't even realize that lit up. Pretty cool. Okay, so it has 3 gigabytes of RAM installed. It has a Core 2 Duo T7200 processor running at 2 gigahertz. It's running Windows 7 Ultimate 32-bit edition. And the Windows Experience rating is 2.5. The processor happened to be the the lowest subscore, 2.5. Primary hard disk was a 5.3. Gaming graphics was 4.6. Graphics was a 5.9, and memory, which is RAM, was 4.0. It dropped down to 85%, and it says that we have 2 hours and 7 minutes on the battery. We'll see about that. Let's take a look at YouTube and see how well it runs. When I was using this underpowered power supply, which even though it's rated for 100 watts, I noticed that the videos were very choppy. It kept stuttering and just not working right. So let's see how well this works. So you could clearly see that it can handle high definition videos, but it can only handle 7, let's see, what is that number? I'm trying to remember. 720p. If I try to bump it up to 1080p, it really causes playback problems. So yeah, you can watch high quality videos, but just not in 1080p, which goes to show you that this thing is showing its age and it is becoming less capable of handling certain things. But it can still play videos, so that's pretty sweet. Especially on a 20-inch display this big. I mean, this is beautiful. If you want the display closer like that, you can just watch it like that. Holy shit. Yeah, I'm gonna have to plug in the charger. Just to give you another example of a power supply that cannot charge and power a laptop at the same time. You can see the battery light flashing and the screen flickering. Yeah, that's because the power supply is trying to charge an internal battery, a laptop keyboard, and trying to power this behemoth all at once. So I'm going to yank the battery out, and hopefully then I can keep doing a video on this thing. So I just got done ripping the battery out of this thing. Yeah, that is a monster of a battery. But, you know, the nice thing is it still works. So, you know, even if it's able to power the machine for just probably 25 minutes or so, that's good enough. Okay, so we're going to be testing the graphics card on this computer. Now, I don't want to play anything that's heavy on the card because I still haven't fully tested the longevity of my solder reflow repair. But I think Grand Theft Auto San Andreas will be just fine on this computer. Yep, my favorite car. I'm using my Bluetooth mouse and it seems to be working very nicely. Everybody's running around.
Message from Dr. Grant. Message from Dr. Grant.
Graphics is pretty good on this thing. I'm really, really surprised.
Message from Dr. Grant.
That gets very annoying though. Oops, I killed a dinosaur. And apparently a lot of people are unhappy.
Message from the park administrator.
That's gotta hurt.
I just destroyed the visitor center, so now they have no choice but to run for their lives. Oh, being cruel is so wonderful. Oh my god! Oh, no fucking way!
Urgent message from the park administrator.
I didn't pay to get eaten. I demand to be looked after. I'm afraid I'm going to die here. This place is terrifying. I'm really scared. Oh, you should be. Be afraid. Be very afraid. And that's not how it all starts. It's like the ooh, ah. And then there's the screaming and running.
Urgent message from the park administrator.
Yeah, this computer handles this game very well. I'm really happy with it.
Urgent message from the park administrator.
That's a lot of fun. Anyway, so that's Jurassic Park Operation Genesis. Watching people getting eaten. So using the DVD drive on this computer is very simple. All you have to do is make sure that the screen is not in the way. If it is, you're gonna run into a big problem. You could jam up the mechanism and cause utter failure. So, to open it, just lift the display out of the way, and then you tap on the touch panel, so like that, and the disk drive opens. Now you don't want to push on the drive itself because you could jam up the mechanism. To close it, you just press the eject button again. And then you have your rewind, stop, play, fast forward, and your audio control keys. I can't really demonstrate the optical drive because I don't want to get copyright infringement, so unfortunately that's the way it is. So after carrying this laptop around for about a week, I've come to the conclusion that portability-wise, it is terrible. It is really terrible. I've had a few close calls with it. I was carrying it like that, like just by the handle, and the lid randomly popped open and the keyboard fell off and hit the ground. Luckily it was on carpeted flooring, so it didn't damage it. But yeah, you have these terrible latches that sometimes work and sometimes don't. And you have this keyboard that just isn't tightly fastened on here. It falls off very easily. So to carry this laptop around, you're running the risk of the lid popping open and your keyboard could fall off. The weight of it is just atrocious. It's just not convenient. And if you were to sit in a room with somebody and place it on the table, you might be the most hated person in that room. Because if you have people who want to sit beside you and need to put their papers and stuff down, they can, because this thing is almost about the size of a cutting board. So it is very, very big. It is ridiculous, but it works. This laptop is definitely showing its age. The battery obviously isn't all that great, as we know. Part of the battery kind of broke off. I don't know where that came off of, but I'm guessing that's from the battery because that's what fell out when I took it out. These laptops also have like a rubberized coating, like the Lenovo ThinkPads. Over time, this coating gets very, very sticky, and it's very unpleasant. I really don't like this. The battery pack just has all of this lint and shit on it. It's yeah, it's very sticky. So I really don't understand why laptop companies use this coating. It's very, very bad. And it scratches very easily too. So, oh well. It is what it is. This laptop is a very unique piece of history, I find, because this was a huge attempt at making a portable modern day computer. I believe that this was based on the old classic Zenith, Toshiba, IBM portables of the 1980s and 90s. This was Dell's shot in the dark trying to make an ultra portable. And yes, they made quite a bit of these, but it's a shame that a lot of them ended up in the scrap heap because of the graphics card problem. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. I'm sorry for rambling on so much about random stuff, but you know, I just wanted to make sure that I covered everything about this laptop. I've looked on the internet and I haven't seen any recent videos of this particular laptop, just mainly videos from 2009 to 2011.